and from here you can just start a first Android Studio project. So this first start a new Android Studio project, can you see this link? Yeah. So if I start Android Studio project, since Android application is a collection of screens, so there are some inbuilt screens available. Inbuilt screens are available. If you want to develop an Google Map based application, you can just select this Google Map based screen. If you want some ready-made login screen, you can select ready-made login screen. Okay, so if you want some navigation control menus, ready-made menus, you can use this. But since we are trying to learn it from the scratch, so we start with the empty activity. Empty activity is the minimum screen, the minimum required screen. Okay. So we always start with the empty activity while we learn the deep things, and after we learn everything, we can start with any screen which we require. So let me start with empty activity. If I click on if I click on next button, I have to type the application name. So the application name is my first app. So it generates a namespace and package. Are you aware with the package concept? So the package is by default created for you. The package is com.example.myfirstapp, and your code will be put in this package. And your app is created at some location. So let me create a folder here. Let me create a folder, and in that folder I am going to create apps. So I have created a folder somewhere in document folder, and let me open that folder. So my applications will be created in Dheeraj apps folder. Now one thing I want to explain you, language, there are two options. You can start with Java and you can start with Kotlin. So there is no problem at all. Java is the primary language, Kotlin is just a new language. So there is no difficulty if you learn Java. Kotlin is also easy language. But as Java is very similar to C#, so I think it will be good for you to start with the Java. Yeah. Again, then you have to set minimum API level. And minimum API level is something that there are various versions of Android has already been released, starting from Android 1, Android 2, Android 2, 2.2, Android 3, Android 4, Android 5. So there are various versions of Android OS. Latest version is Android 10. So up to which Android OS you want to support, starting from which Android OS you want to support, because for example someone has purchased the Android phone two years back and has not updated the OS since then, so it may be running on Android 4.0. Yeah, so minimum is provided here, that which kind of which Android OS you want to support, so that you can target all of the Android users. So I am taking the minimum available in the market, which is Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich. So it is suggested that if you choose Android 4.0, your app run on approximately 100% devices. Yeah, it means all the mobile phones, Android phones in the market are using minimum Android 4.0 nowadays. Yeah. So after selecting the minimum version and the language and your folder, you just click on finish. It will generate a project structure. Let me give you the idea where is the project. So this project is generated. It may take some time if you are first developing it first time, because it may download some extra tools. So it may take some time. So it has generated all the application data, application code, everything is generated. I think you can see the code now. So is it visible? Can you read this, what I have selected? So what is written over here? Can you just please read me for once? Yes. Okay. So basically, whenever you create the application, we have selected one empty activity based application. So one screen is available, one screen, empty screen is available. So screen is available in the RES folder. So this RES folder is nothing but the resources folder. This folder contains everything except the Java code. Whatever other resources like images, like menu items, like screen designs, like videos, like HTML something, or like anything which is not a code part is put in the resource folder. Your screen designs are put in layout folder, which is the subfolder of RES. And you can see one screen is there, one XML file is there. So this XML file is just nothing but just a design of your first screen. If you click on this, you will get the XML code. Now in this XML part, there are two tabs given below. One is text tab, one is design tab. Yes. In the design tab, you can see that screen in the design mode. And you can drag and drop and create this screen. Okay, there are some element provided here. One text for text field. You can drag and drop and create it. Plain text, you can drag this and put it here. Then you can go and select the button and you can put it here. So if you click on button type, there are various types of button: image button, checkbox, radio button. These are all types of buttons. You can select one of the button and you can put it here. Okay, and then if you want some label, you can go to widgets and there is 1 minute. So text view is there. You can get the text view from the common text view. Text view is nothing but the label. So every application requires these three basic components. One is input field, one is button, one is text view. So it's easy to create and drag and drop design. We'll also look into how we can manage this UI using various types of layouts. Like in HTML, we have division, paragraph, span, table to organize our content. Similarly, we have various kinds of layouts. There are various types of layouts to organize your screen. Guideline, constraint layout, linear layout, frame layout, table layout, table rows. So you can organize your complete screen using these layouts. We will talk about them later in detail. So for the time being, we have, let's say, 3 elements on the screen. These 3 elements, first is name field, where it is of type edit text. You can see the type here. You can see the type here. First is text view, means label. In generally other programming language we call it label, but in Android we call it text view, and in other programming we call it edit text field. I think you are aware with the word text field. Here we call it edit text. Then there is a button, and button is known as button here. Okay, So let me go to the text part. After drag and drop, everything is whatever you put in the design, everything is converted, actually presented in the form of XML here in the text part. Everything is XML. So XML tags are there similar to HTML tags. We have XML tags. This is first text view, hello world. Okay, I can remove this if I want. I can remove this if I want. Yes, if I remove it from here and I go, the last text view at the bottom is removed. If you want to remove this text view which I selected, you can delete from it here, from here only here, and you can also go to text part and you can remove the complete tag of that text view. Okay, so this is how you can create the user interface by using drag and drop. So let me again put the text view. Okay, so you can increase the size of font there. There are various properties there available. So in the attribute section, in this there is attribute section. You can go to attribute and you can go to the declared attributes. These are the declared attributes: ID, height, width, ID, text, layout. Various properties are, other attributes are also. You can go to other attributes here. So there are various text attributes. One is text size attribute is there. If you can go to text size, you can put your size in, let's say 20 and 20 pixels. So pixels we can provide here, or let's say 20 pixels. So 20 SP scaling pixels. So yeah, pixels, if I just type in pixels is also possible. You can type in px also, but pixels are basically for screen pixels. And if you type SP, it will accommodate according to the density of the device, screen density of the device. The density, number of pixels per centimeter is the density. So we always use SP so that it can automatically update according to the screen size. It will try to display it of same size on the multiple screens. Yeah. So similarly, you can also change the font size and text color, everything from here. I have selected this edit text. Now let us search text color. So there is a text color property. From the drop down, you can select any text color that you want. So I have selected this text color. Okay, so I have to remove this text color. It is white. Let me make it black. Okay, some dark. So in this yeah, so similarly you can set the text background. So background color is there. So from in the background you can select a color. Yeah, background. Button, you can just search the button text property. Text property is used to assign the content of button. So I write here cube. I want to calculate cube of something. In the text field name, I have to enter, let's say, enter a number. So this simple application I have developed, I have simple UI I have created. I have one input field, I have one button, and I have text view where I am going to display the result. So by default, let's say result equal to 0. Okay. Now this is the screen that we have created, simple screen we have created. Let's run this screen on the UI on the device, but to control this screen elements we need some code. If user type some number here, let's say 5, and click on cube, the cube of 5, that is 125, should be presented in the result section. So this scenario I want to execute, so I have to handle whatever user have entered here. I have to write some code to handle the content of this edit text. So for this purpose I have to go to the code part, and code part in this is in the Java folder. Can you see the Java folder? Inside Java folder you have your applications package, and inside package you have main activity. Yeah, so we connect this design, we use or load this design in the Java code. This is your Java code. Okay, so what is the name of your user interface? So your name of your user interface is activity underscore main dot xml, and this xml is inside the layout folder, and this layout is inside the res folder. So you have to search for this path res slash layout slash activity main xml, and you load this design in your Java code. So here you can see that there is some ready-made code which says r.layout.activity-main. Got it? So there is some ready-made code available which by default connects your default screen. So in the coming session we'll see how we can connect, how we can create a new activity class, and how we can connect a new screen with this new activity class. So we'll just go with the current available code. We'll learn all the things from scratch one by one, don't worry. So you assume that your design is already loaded using this function set content. Okay, so tell me in the C# what how your application starts. Is there any main function? Yeah, here onCreate is the main function of this screen. So everything starts from onCreate. But there are some other functions, we'll talk about them, which may execute time to time based on some scenarios. But for the time being, this is the first function that automatically execute in this screen. So main activity class is now connected with the activity main screen. Now let's look at the imports. There are some imports at the top. You are aware with the import concept? Yeah. So we are importing some activity, existing class app compat activity, and we are extending that class here to create a new class. This is inheritance, and to create a new class, and we are using overriding here. We have override the method onCreate. So this onCreate method is from which class? Yeah, and in this method we have just first called the superclass method, and after the superclass inheritance method execute, we have called one more method set content view, which loads the screen. Okay, so let me run this for now. इतना हम इसको run करके देखते हैं. Let me run this. So I just go to build option and from the menu, and I build it using the bundle build option. So if I click on build APKs, it will compile all the project and create a .apk file. It will compile the complete project, the Java code and everything into one package that is known as .apk. I think you are aware with the .apk. Dot APK is nothing but Android setup and Android app. So whenever you download some app from the Play Store, what you are downloading? You are downloading .apk file. So the same file we are creating while building the project. So you can see that you can see here that the .apk generated successfully, and I can click on this locate button, this locate option, and when I click on this locate option, it will take me to the folder on the Windows machine or whatever machine you are working, where you will get the .apk file. So this you can pass, or you can distribute this .apk file for your application, because since it is a .apk, it can only be run on the Android phones, not on the Windows machine or Mac machine. It is built for Android OS only. So how to test? Either you can take it from here to your device, you can email on your mobile phone, you can Skype it on your mobile phone, you can send it on your phone, and you can just click on it, touch on it, it will get installed. But if you want to test it here on your machine without the phone, you can run it on a virtual phone. Okay, you can run this on a virtual phone. So let me give you the process how to create a virtual Android phone on your Windows machine. Okay, so here there are some tools provided here. In the tool section, there is a tool AVD Manager. Yeah, AVD stands for Android Virtual Device. When you open this tool helps to create a virtual device for you. I have created two virtual devices. One virtual device, my Galaxy phone, another is J7. One size is 720 cross 1280, another size is 480 cross 800. Yeah, HDPI means the density, number of pixels per inches. And the Android OS loaded on is Android 8.1. Okay, so this is how I have created a virtual phone. Let me give steps to create a new virtual phone. So there is a new button there, create virtual device. Can you see this? Okay, if I click on this button, I will get this screen from where I can create a virtual device for either for TV, because Android is also available for TV. Android is available for phone. Android is available for watches. Android is also available for tablet PCs. So you can create any virtual device. So I am going to create virtual device for phone. There are some ready-made templates are available for virtual devices. Let me take one Galaxy Nexus. This Galaxy Nexus is of 4.6 inch, whose size is this, whose density is this. Okay. I can select this predefined profile, and if I click on next button, it is now asking which OS version to load on that virtual device. So there are various OS versions. One, as I told you, Android 10 is known as Android Q. Android Pie is Android 9. Oreo is Android 8. Okay, and the upcoming Android 11 is given here as R. So if you want any Android OS, you just download that OS copy on click of on download button. Whenever you click on the download, it will download the binary of that OS, and you can run that OS virtually on this system using virtualization. Okay, now since I have already downloaded Oreo, okay, I have already downloaded Oreo, so I select Oreo because it may take some time to download. It is of 1.5 something GB minimum. So I have already downloaded Oreo, so I click on just next button to select the Oreo, that is Android OS version. Then now you give your name to some name to this phone. Let's say Dheeraj phone. Okay. Then you can change the resolution if you want. You can change the OS version if you want. Startup orientation, portrait or landscape. You want to use the graphics card on it, so you can select hardware or software graphics. For game programming it is required, but you can take it as it is. तो अभी आपको कुछ खास नहीं लेना है, just provide the name here. Then just click on the finish button to create this virtual device. Now your virtual device is under process, so your virtual device is created. You need at least 8 GB of RAM to run it smoothly. You need at least 8 GB of RAM on your laptop or desktop, so that you can simultaneously run your Windows OS and Android OS both. Let me select this Dheeraj phone, and there is a play button. There is a play button. Can you see this play button? So if I click on this play button, it will start that virtual phone. It may take some time to start it. So whenever you start it first time, it may take some time. Second time, when all files or configurations are created, it will start instantly. So okay, so let me check if it has been started. It may take some time because we have selected high density. High density takes a bit more time because it requires more memory. So it is bit taking bit time. So till then now after it starts, you can close this also, virtual device manager. You can minimize or close it also. Now assume that you have created a simple application, and what you want is on click of cube button, you want to calculate cube of some number entered in the text field and put the result on result field. So you access all these 3 elements in the code. Now from the XML part, you just need to find the name of element. First element is edit text, second is button, third is text view. To access all this element, you have to assign one special property to this element. That special property is known as ID. Yeah, ID property is required. So you have to check what is the ID assigned to each element. So the ID of this element is edit text. You can change it, make it edit text 1. It's up to you. Yeah, it will change in the UI also, yes. And in the similar way, ID of button is button, so you can make it button 1 if you want. ID of text view is text view 2, you can make it text view 1. It's up to you. But it should be unique. Okay. Now we can access these elements. One is edit text, one is button, one is text view in the code part. So we can go to code part, and at the class level we create 3 variables. We create 3 data members. One is edit text. As you type edit text, it suggests the edit text is available in Android.widget package. So every element that we have there has an equivalent class. So you create reference of that object. So here you can see edit text is import here. Similarly, button is there, so you can create reference of button. Similarly, you have text view, you can create reference for the text view and try to give the similar references. as similar to id, although it is not required. You can type here E, you can type here B, you can type here M, anything. But to remember, you try to give the reference similar to the IDs available in the XML part. So these are just references, objects are not created. If you manually want to create object, you can write here new, edit text. You are aware with the new keyword. But since these elements are declared already in the XML, you just need to declare the reference here, and from here you can connect all references of UI elements with XML elements. XML में जो declared है उससे हम कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. So what you write here? You write here edit text 1 equal to find view by ID. This find view by ID is a special function. This special function connect your element from the XML. So for that purpose you have to write r dot id dot edit text 1. This edit text 1 is nothing but the ID available in the XML. Okay. So if this ID is T1, you have to write T1 here. Okay. T1. Let me again give you the idea. If the ID of edit text is E1, then in the XML you have to write here E1. Yes. Similarly, let me change the IDs there. Button B1, let's make it B1, and the text view T1. So everything, then text view 1 equal to find view by ID r dot id dot T1. Then button 1 equal to find view by ID r dot id dot button 1 B1, sorry. Okay. Okay, so it may be taking some time to start that virtual device because maybe it is of larger size. So I am starting a new device which is of smaller size. Let me start that. Just 5 minutes. Okay, so it is already started here. There are some buttons, back button, home button, everything is there. 3 buttons are there. There is a browser pre-installed on this device. So this device actually works like a real phone. Similarly, you can go click on this home button to go to home screen. You can start Google Map app. You can start dialer. So all the apps are installed here on this virtual device. So it works similar to a real device. Yeah, it tries to simulate all the features of a real device. Now just keep this device opened, and you can close this virtual device manager. Now you can run your app. You can run this app on that device. Okay, so you can run from the run menu, run app. Yeah, run app you can select. If you select run app, it tries to again build it, and after building it send it to the device. It is building this application. So installation is under progress, and it will reach to this device here, and you can see the screen. Can you see this screen? Yeah, but the problem is that your screen is, the elements are overlapping. So you have to set some properties. For the time being, I am just changing the main layout, which is linear layout. Tomorrow we'll see in detail about this. Okay. So let me just remove the extra property which is not required. Tomorrow we'll discuss in detail about these properties. So this is our screen. Now is it visible? Okay. So let me run it again, so that I'm just going to stop this project from here, and I can run it again. So your app is here. Now you want to, you enter here, let's say 5. On click of cube button, this this cube of this should be displayed here on the result. So I have to handle the click of this cube. So I am going to create a handler code for this cube button. To create a handler code, what I do is, I am using some inbuilt abstract classes. Are you aware with the concept of abstract classes? Yes? Yeah. So some pure abstract classes are given here, which are known as interfaces. Yeah. So I am going to create a inner class here. Let's say class name is cube click listener. Implements view dot on click listener. On click listener is an interface declared inside a view class. So I am inheriting that interface, that abstract class, and from that abstract class I am going to override a function on click. You just type it, it gives you suggestion, or you can manually type it. You can manually type it public void on click, like this. Similarly, okay. So after you override this, you can put your code inside this. So you want to fetch the data from that input field. The input field is represented using this edit text. So you get a string from that edit text. The edit text is edit text1 dot, you call the method get text. If you call the method get text, you will get the entered value. Then you convert that entered value in string form using toString. So yeah, toString is a function that converts data of something into a string. Since you want to assume it as a number, so you convert in a number using syntax integer a equals to integer dot parse int. Parse int is a function integer class which accept a string and convert that string into integer. So you get the input value and then you are converting in integer. Then you find the cube. To find cube you can write here integer c for cube equal to a into a into a. Then you show this data. So show result. Where to show result? Result on the text view. That is the final label, result label. And to display it on there, you can use text view one dot set text method is there. Set text is there. And there you can write here C, but C is of integer type. C is of integer type, so you first convert in a string. So you can, to convert this in a string, you just append a string with this. Sorry. Yeah, simple string. Here you can write result equal to and plus. So this all become a single string. And then that's okay. So your code is ready. You have got the value from the input field, you converted in integer, you calculated square and you put square in the output field text view. Now you want to attach, you want to run this code with the button. So after this listener class is complete, what you do is you attach listener code with button 1. So you create the object of that listener class. The listener class name is cube listener. So cube listener equal to new cube listener. You just create object of this listener class and pass it to button. Button has a special function set on click listener. And what is the argument of this set on click listener? On click. Yeah. So since on click listener is abstract class, so in place of on click listener we created object of its subclass. And now let us pass this object listener here. So now everything is connected. Button is connected with listener. Listener is code of cube listener, and cube listener has a method on click. So whenever you click on button, you touch the button, this code will execute. That's okay. Now you run it again. And let me check. So let me again type some number here. If I click on cube, I will have the result. Yes? So this is how you can create a simple application in Android. So got the idea? Basic idea?